Welcome back to the DNX show, and today we're doing our predictions for Salt Lake City, and this is the last round of Supercross, man. Time flies. All right, so Doc, what is your bold prediction for the 250 class?
This is going to be an interesting one considering that the West chip is over and we're only really focused on the East chip. With that said, I think it's going to be an all-West podium.
All right, so for my 250 prediction, I think the 250 East Championship will be decided on the last lap.
Any of those guys could win this race. A lot of the time, even when it's close, I have like yeah, this guy's going to win. I would like to lean Seth, but I really don't know.
It's crazy. It's so unpredictable, as we mentioned like last week, that this championship is unpredictable. Like, you can't definite say like it's going to be Seth, because we've seen what happens. Like, Tommy V just like won. Like, it's crazy. So
dude, it's crazy too. If I'm going all West on the podium and then we're just going like the next best consistent guy, Tommy V. You know,
it might
like
be
a fourth. You know what I'm saying?
Be.
I don't know.
All right, so moving on to the 450s. What is your bold prediction for the 450s?
Okay, this one's a little vague, but we'll get into it more as we get into the podium. But I think teammates are going to shake up the championship a little bit.
Ooh, that is a little vague, because that can go either way, I think.
That's what I'm saying.
So for my 450 bold prediction, I think Webb finishes 5th and only wins the championship by like 1 point. I think it's 1 point, right? So I think that's what's going to happen. I think he rides good and all, but like I think the other guys are going to pass him and he just rides to get that chip. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Maybe on that wavelength, kind of on that wavelength. We'll see.
It is a possibility that he could get 6. I've been saying all like the last couple of weeks, like I don't necessarily see it, but there is a possibility, especially if Jay Coop gets a start, AP gets a start, you know, Malcolm gets a start, Chase gets a start.
I don't see a world where Webb just doesn't have that dog in him, though. You know, like maybe, like I just don't see a world where he's put in that situation and doesn't make it happen. You know, like sure, a fifth or a 4th, just getting the chip, but like I don't see a world where he's in 7th and doesn't make that pass happen somehow. You know what I mean?
I'm also on that wave. Like, even if he goes down in the start, I can guarantee you he pushes it himself all the way back up to 5th place. I can guarantee that.
I don't see him. There's no way he doesn't either make the passes or wad himself so bad that he can't finish the race.
But that's what I'm saying for my prediction. I think it gets like a 5th, and the championship is way tighter than what we kind of think. Because right now it's like, I think it's 9 points right now. So I think it'll be a little bit tighter at the end of the day. Who do you have winning the heat races? Since it's an East-West showdown, we're going to have 2 separate heats for the guys. Let's start with the 250s. Who do you have winning the 250 East one?
First of all, like the video. Thank you. And hit the subscribe button. For East, you said 250 East first.
Yeah.
Seth.
Okay.
And then like 250 West, Deegan.
Ooh, okay. I saw, shout to DBK on Twitter. He asked a question, would Deegan even race this round? Because he already wrapped up the championship and like wouldn't risk himself getting out there and maybe possibly getting injured. We don't know, right? I think he would still race.
He's gonna race.
Yeah, I think 100%. He will still race.
It's all about pride for Deegan, right? Like winning the chip, winning the bread was one thing, but like I would assume in his mind, he's got to go stamp it that he's, okay, I got the chip. Also, I'm the best guy in the class, even over the East guys.
I was just about to mention that he might actually just go out there and say, hey, F it. I'm the best guy. I'm going to win the heat race. I'm going to be top quality, and I'm going to win the main event.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is like the best Deegan rides all year.
No pressure, right?
There's no pressure anymore. So just has the dog on everybody, you know?
For my heat race winners, I'm going opposite. I'm going with Davies in the West. And then I actually have Seth in the East as well. I think Seth is a really good heat race rider. So, like, I think he'd go out there and win it. I wouldn't be surprised if, say, like, RJ, though, kind of maybe sneaks in there and get a little heat race. He is pretty good at Salt Lake. Go back to last year. He was battling with Deegan for it. So, I wouldn't be surprised about that. But what about the 450s?
I think you have to go Sexton. He's going to win whatever he's in. I guess you don't have to. He's been beat a couple times recently. But we're going to go Sexton and then Jay Coop.
I think those guys are going to be 1-2 in quali, and so they're going to be opposite heats, and I can definitely see that because that's exactly what I have as well. So I have Sexton and Jay Coop. And that's exactly like that was my thinking. Time quality, those guys are going to be 1-2. Whether it's Jay Coop top quality or Sexton top quality, those guys are going to be 1-2. And they're going to win their heat races. I mean, it might be a night for Jay Coop to get a win.
I was going to say, I think somebody in the 450 class is having a perfect night as well. That's all I'm saying.
All right, so we're moving on to our head-to-heads, which is brought to you by Next Bets, where you guys can actually play all head-to-heads for the 450 class. All you have to do is go to the link in the description below, nextbets.com/playdnx to play. And for this week, our head-to-head matchups for the 450 is Malcolm Stewart versus Aaron Plessinger. And for me personally, I like AP on this one. I think he wants a little redemption from Denver, right? The altitude kind of got to him. I think he wants that redemption. I think he's going to probably get on the box this weekend. And I think Malcolm's going to be right behind him, one spot behind him. And I'm kind of scared, though, because last week Malcolm was freaking on fire. So I am kind of scared about that pick. But that's what I'm going with.
AP is just way more consistent. Malcolm's kind of all over the place. When he's on, he's really on. And I think when Malcolm's feeling it, he can beat AP. But I think it's more likely that AP will consistently beat Malcolm. So I also went AP. For 250s, you have Joe Shimoda versus Chance Hymas. And teammates. Personally, I don't think that this is even difficult whatsoever. It's Joe, baby.
I think it is a little difficult because
Not difficult.
Joe just finished 9th.
Yeah, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about that one. No, not that one. It was the altitude, his finger was hurting the altitude. That's all it was, Chat, I know that's not a real thing. Pipe down.
I really hope that's the case because I also have Shimoda, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than we think. I can see them finishing like 6-7, 7-8, maybe even 4-5. I can see that happening. A little 4-5 is a little bold, but I can see that happening. But I'm going to go with Joe. I think last week was hopefully a fluke. Maybe he was sick. Maybe the altitude got to him. Joe has been a little bit more consistent even with the injury than Chance has. So I think Joe gets it done. So yeah, that is actually very interesting to watch. There's a little rumor that Joe might not be back with Honda next year. So take that into consideration. Maybe a little head-to-head for the last round. See who's better in Supercross. So moving on to our placements. We got 7th place this week. Let's start with the 250 class. And for me, East-West Showdown, I think the 7th best guy is going to be Jordan Smith. All right. It's kind of bold. I can see him potentially getting like a podium, maybe 4-5. But with everybody riding so good in the West class, like what we just saw at Denver with Deegan, Davies, Juju, Marchbanks, then you got to throw in the title contenders and Seth, Tommy V, RJ. I mean, that would put Jordan 8th, right? So I think a 7th spot is pretty good for Jordan in that race.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. I actually went with Chance. I thought Chance would be around there, and I think Joe will be a top 5.
I was about to say, so you have Joe higher than that because... Hey, that's pretty interesting.
I think Joe's going to do pretty good. I think Chance is going to do pretty good, just not as good. You know what I mean?
I feel that. What about your 450s?
Okay, now this one's bold. Okay, this one's crazy. Christian Craig?
That is very bold. That guy hasn't even got a top 10 this year.
Yeah, well, it's happening this weekend. Last round, it's gonna be a whoop section. That's just gonna be. He's just gonna rip. I don't know. Christian Craig. We'll try.
Hopefully,
it'll be cool.
Hopefully he needs a result. He 100% needs a result. And I'm gonna bring this up in our Everything Moto tomorrow. But a little sneak peek. It's only a Supercross only deal for him. So very interesting. We'll talk about it a little bit tomorrow.
He ain't racing outdoors.
I thought he was supposed to. We'll get into it tomorrow. All right.
No shot. Anyway, sorry.
Okay. Well, anyways, for my 7th place in the 450s, I have Joey Savatgy. I think he's going to be right there. Good start with Shane. I think a little teammate battle, 6-7. That's where they were last week, and I can see that happening again. Now, I wouldn't be surprised either if Dean Wilson goes out there and get a 7th place either. Like if he gets a good start,
dude,
he's really good in those tracks.
And then I replaced him with Craig.
That's a hater. That's a hater move right there. Dean, he's hating on you, dude. Just saying. No. All right, let's go to our podiums.
Maybe it's because I think Dean's gonna go higher, dog. Huh?
Maybe. You don't have that. I can guarantee you don't have that.
Next up, we have our podium predictions brought to you by FastMoto Club. If you don't know what FastMoto Club is, it is your new go-to website for everything fantasy, supercross, and motocross. This sounds interesting to you. Make sure you go down in the description and join the DNX League. And a huge shout out to FastMoto Club for sponsoring the DNX show for the entirety of the Supercross season. Now, let's jump back into our predictions. Let's do our podiums now, okay? I'll kick things off with a very vanilla 250, okay? Nothing crazy. We're gonna go, starting in P3, we're gonna go Juju, Cole, Deegan. I know, it's very basic.
Okay, for that podium, I have a thought. Does Deegan pull a whole shot and just ride away with it? And Deegan, or like Davies, like is right there behind him, but just can't make a move? Or does Deegan pass Juju and Davies for the win again?
I think Deegan gets bad start, Deegan passes, Deegan gaps.
If Davies gets a start, do you think we'll be a little bit more bar banging with Davies and Deegan than what we saw at Denver a little bit? Or
I don't think anything would change.
Anything would change? All right. Just fair enough. Fair enough.
Deegan's Deegan, baby. That's just who he is. It's who he's going to be. I don't think there's ever going to be him being nice, which is fine.
For my 250 podium, this is going into the bold prediction of mine. Last lap pass for the chip. And so for third place, I have RJ Hampshire.
Ooh, interesting.
Second place, I have Seth Hammaker. And so I think that's a 3-point gap, I believe. No, it's a 2-point gap. But he's only 1 point down on RJ. So if he passes him on the last lap to get second, he wins the chip. I think that's the case. And then for first place, I got Cole Davies. I think he wants revenge. I think he just gaps everybody from start to finish, and he doesn't look back, and he just dominates. For your 450 podium, what do you have?
Got a little bit of a bounce back for AP, okay? I think AP's feeling good. We're going to get I mean, they're still kind of high elevation, but not quite Denver elevation. But anyway, AP's going to bounce back. We're going to get a P3 for the Ape Hizzle, okay? And then Chase Sexton for P2, and J Coop.
J Coop wins?
J Coop wins. Perfect day.
Perfect day for J Coop.
And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that Webb is in a position that Sexton needs to win. And if he wins, he can get the chip. And J Coop's going to prevent that.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
Right? Like Coop's around like that 5th, 6th. And if Sexton wins, maybe they tie or whatever. I don't really, Chet. You know the vibes. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be close. J Coop's going to win, and it's going to prevent Sexton from getting the chip.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, you guys can do the math. I don't care.
For my podium, I have AP in third. I think he gets a bounce back race. Right? He gets back on the box. For second place, I have J Coop. I think his speed is going to help him get into second place. We saw what he can do last week in Denver. I want to see him replicate that with a much better start. And I would actually love to see him battle a little bit with Sexton for the lead. But I think Sexton gets it done once again. Now, perfect day, it might go to Sexton, bro. I'm not going to cap. I'm not going to say anything, but I think Sexton might do it. I have Sexton winning. And I don't, like I mentioned, I think Webb finishes 5th. So I think Webb still wins the championship. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
I don't really see a world where Coop doesn't. I mean, like, maybe crashes, broken rear brake.
I don't
even
see
then.
it.
I feel like he's getting 6th, though. You know what I mean?
Dude,
like somehow he's figuring that out.
Yeah. But yeah, let us know who you guys have winning the 250 championship for the East, and then the 450 championship. I'm assuming most of you guys are going to say Webb. And then I asked you guys on YouTube who's going to win the 250 East championship. And as of right now, there's 163 votes. And 60% of you guys think Seth Hammaker is going to break the PC curse and get it done. So very interesting to see. Yeah, the chip. So,
I love that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, in the comment section, let us know who you guys have winning. Thank you guys so much for all the love this year in Supercross, man. It means a lot. It's been a journey. It's been a learning journey for sure. We're finally found like kind of our groove. We're excited for Moto, and it's going to be sick. It's going to be so sick. Also, let you guys know before we get into Moto, we'll get like a little recap of like the Supercross season. We'll do a little highlight video from all our best reactions, like the ratings for the riders, probably next week sometime. So be on the lookout for all that. But yeah, just thank you guys so much for all the love.
Outdoors is superior.